You're a wonderful, critically acclaimed author. Thorn in My Pocket, fabulous, fabulous book. And you mentioned you're working on another book that we're going to talk about a little bit later. But you wanted to take just a second here at the beginning, Eustacia, to talk about, we've had parents write in with questions. And I wanted to give you the opportunity to talk about when you talk to parents, our expectations. We have expectations and we want answers. And what would you like to say to that?
Well, the first thing I've always said is there are no answers. There are only choices. But choices can be changed, and you will change them. The tricky thing is you've got to make the choice in the dark, not knowing quite how it'll come out. And it came home to me when Temple was little. We lived in Dedham, outside of Boston. It was a little town, and across the road from where we lived there was a farm. And in the farm, of course, there were hens and, naturally, a rooster. Well, in those years, I used to study all night long, and it was then that I learned that a rooster doesn't just crow when the sun comes up. A rooster crows first at 3 a.m. in the dark, before we know what kind of day we're going to have. And if you remember your Shakespeare, ghosts appear at midnight, and they disappear at first cockcrow. 3 a.m. is the hour when more people die and more babies are born. It's when we leave the old day behind and begin a new day, not knowing what that day will bring.
And I love this, Eustacia. You and I talked about this the other day, that this sometimes as an autism parent, we feel like, I used to say, I'd like a crystal ball. I'd like to look into the crystal ball and know how it's all going to turn out and know that all the decisions that I'm making are right. And you said to me, but my dear, you must crow in the dark.
Yes, yes. And the other point I keep saying is I would like to help people to an emotional compass. Not a GPS. A GPS is a map with streets and addresses. No, a compass. You're going to have to learn to face your own north. And you won't know exactly what it is. But you'll know more and more. I think the gift of change is what comes to my mind. It's an extraordinary gift. We grow, we change. I love the way Temple's grown and changed. I love the fact that, I don't know, it was last Christmas, or she said, well, you know, the older I get, the less autistic I am. and I think what it is she's done a lot of work with other people. She's had to negotiate. She's had to change and grow. Now, that doesn't mean she's cured of her autism. The autism is still there. There are still things that are sticky for her. But it does mean she's fulfilled. And that's the goal I'd like to give to you, to all mothers, to your child to be fulfilled as they would like to be fulfilled.
Well, there's a wish that we can all get behind and push for our children to be fulfilled. That right there gives us all a compass to find our north, because that's going to be different for different children.
Yeah, and different for different families.
Absolutely.
And different cultures. We have not looked at how the culture feeds into what we're doing.
Really remarkable. I know that a lot of people that are watching are familiar with Temple's story, and almost everybody has seen the film now. And I wanted to take just a second to talk about, for you, we've interviewed Temple before about how she feels about the movie, but I want to know, for you, you were depicted very beautifully in the movie, but there couldn't possibly be complete accuracy in a movie. We know we live here in Hollywood. We know that there are things that are different.
No, it's a docudrama.
Yes.
And I think what troubled me though was that first when I first took Temple to Children's Hospital in Boston, to the Judge Baker Guidance Clinic, the Dr. Carruthers did not recommend institutionalizing. He recommended speech lessons.
Okay.
That's a big difference. I could not have taken on the entire medical profession and gone against him. And he told me who to go to. I had guidance and support. And that's another message I feel we all need. Our child needs it, and we need it. Each step of the way, somebody helped Temple, and then they taught me at the same time. Dr. Carruthers recommended a Mrs. Reynolds. Temple went there, and Mrs. Reynolds, Temple, who didn't like to be touched at all, Mrs. Reynolds grabbed her jaw and told her where to put her tongue to tell the difference between a D and a T. And Temple let her touch her, I think because she wanted to talk. Some of our children don't. We know also that Temple hasn't stopped talking ever since.
As only a mother could say with love.